Call it the Whiplash mandate. This week, TikTok told its US staff they're back in the office 5 days a week starting next month. No phased return. In the same 7 days, Dropbox's new co-CEO went on record explaining why the company is doubling down on remote work instead. This is Paper Cut, and this week is about what happens when every headline company reads the same economy and draws a different conclusion from it. TikTok's 5-day return-to-office mandate landed with no partial phase-in. Days later, Dropbox went the other way entirely. Its new co-CEO publicly committing to a virtual-first model. ABN AMRO made the split even stranger, wanting staff back in the office while still planning to cut 2,750 more jobs. A combination that reads as, "Come back to a building we're actively shrinking." Staff at BT are bracing for a relocation plan they fear will kill their work-life balance. Bank of America changed its hybrid work-from-home policy this week too. And one opinion piece argued a lot of this RTO enthusiasm is quietly biased against employees with family caregiving responsibilities. Map your actual RTO policy against your stated EVP promises before you announce anything else this quarter. If your employer brand still talks about flexibility while your real policy is heading TikTok's way, that gap shows up in exit interviews long before it shows up in an engagement survey. Oracle plans further layoffs just weeks after spending most of a $2.1 billion restructuring budget, with 21,000 roles already eliminated. Meta added its own contribution, with Zuckerberg's AI manifesto reportedly arguing for more jobs, fewer workers, and what it calls personal superintelligence. Against that, a new report out of Singapore found early AI adoption is actually linked to employment gains. And KPMG found nearly half of executives have already pulled back their AI agent deployments over cost. Research covered by The Conversation adds a twist. Layoffs tied to AI actually hurt worker productivity afterwards, for reasons researchers say tend to surprise the managers who ordered the cuts. California's new AI job loss tracker, covered on EBN this week, found no statewide surge yet, but claims are climbing specifically among college-educated workers in exposed roles. Own the specific version of the AI story that applies to your workforce, rather than borrowing whichever headline suits the moment. Oracle's cuts and Singapore's gains are both true, for different populations of workers. UK hiring has turned a corner after its longest slump on record, according to REC. The US Conference Board's Employment Trends Index rose in July, too. But hiring overall is slowing even as AI-mature organizations keep growing headcount. And many companies say they plan to increase hiring this year without being confident they'll find the right talent to fill those roles. Flag the skills gap specifically, rather than folding it into a generic "we're hiring" message. An upbeat hiring number says nothing about whether the roles you actually need filled are attracting the right applicants. 54% of Gen Z applicants ghost employers after accepting a job offer, according to Inc., though the expert quoted argues the real problem is onboarding design, not generational attitude. A companion piece argues job hopping isn't the resume red flag hiring managers still treat it as. The UN reports global youth unemployment is rising amid sluggish job creation and a looming AI risk, which gives both of those stories a harder backdrop. The blame runs both ways this week, though. Employees surveyed by HR Dive say their bosses don't actually work as hard as they do. The BBC reported the AI version of the same tension. Tech leaders say AI means less work, while their own staff report working up to 90 hours a week. And Forbes covered what to do when your colleagues are producing what it calls AI slop, work that technically exists, but doesn't hold up to scrutiny. Pair any Gen Z retention messaging with an honest look at your own onboarding experience before blaming the candidate pool. Quickly, this week's cut list. ABN AMRO confirmed a further 2,750 job cuts, even while calling remaining staff back into the office. Oracle has eliminated 21,000 roles to date and is reportedly planning more, some at double-digit percentages within affected teams. Nobody in this issue is reading from the same page, and that's the actual story. TikTok wants everyone back while Dropbox stays remote. Oracle is cutting while Singapore is hiring. Gen Z gets blamed for ghosting while bosses get caught not working as hard as their own staff. The employer brands worth trusting this year are the ones willing to say which specific version of each story is true for them. That's this week's Paper Cut. Don't let Monday catch you off guard. See you next week.